Welcome to another episode of The Latest with Maya. Today, I am so excited to have a conversation with writer and producer Julia Fisher Farbman. Julia's most recent project, Audrey's Children, comes out March 28th, so be sure to go see it. Thank you so much for being on my show. I am so excited to be talking with you.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be talking with you.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, the feeling's mutual.
Thank you. Um, so let's get started. So, what inspired you to tell Audrey Evans' story?
Yes, well, I had the privilege of knowing Audrey my whole life, actually. And a little background on me, I really tried to focus my career on telling stories that hopefully inspire some positive action in the world, make people feel a little less alone. So it's always been sort of the guiding light in my career is how can I amplify unsung heroes and stories that hopefully matter to people. So Audrey, I had the privilege of knowing her my whole life. She was a close family friend. So I always grew up like up close and personal with this hero and rock star, as she called herself, a rock star. She said that jokingly. She was not egotistical at all. Very good sense of humor she had. And so I had done a show previously called Modern Hero, and it profiled women role models from all walks of life. And I profiled Audrey. This was about 7 or 8 years ago now. And her little video, 10-minute video of her life, took off with hundreds of thousands of comments and shares of people who were alive because of Audrey, who enrolled in medical school, who got to stay at a Ronald McDonald House. And it just was this unbelievable series of events that made me see real time how many lives this one person has touched. So I felt a calling on my heart. It sounds very corny, but it's 100% true. Couldn't stop thinking about the fact that I needed to write and produce a movie about her life, even though I had never done it before. So fast forward 7 years and the movie is done and coming out, and I'm sure we'll talk about that. But it's been the honor of my life telling Audrey's story. She meant a lot to me, so I hope I did her proud.
Oh, wow, that's incredible.
Thanks, Maya.
Yeah. Yeah, the movie it's incredible and I can't wait for everybody to see it.
Thank you. That means a lot. That means a lot, especially you've lived this experience that so many of our families have in the movie. And, I just, as much as this movie was to honor Audrey, it was also to honor you and your experience. So it means so much to me that you enjoyed the film. It's my hope that other children who were or are patients see it and hopefully feel less alone and know that there are people like Audrey working around the clock to hopefully finally put an end to pediatric cancer.
Yeah. The movie very accurately portrays the heartache that's associated with a childhood cancer diagnosis. What research did you do to ensure it was realistic?
Yes, thank you for saying that. A great deal of research went into telling this story. My background is in journalism, so that really helped in this area because, of course, I spoke to Audrey for years and years and years about her life story, but I interviewed physicians, families who experienced pediatric cancer, children who made it, children who didn't. I spoke to their parents, spoke to Ronald McDonald House families, read as many research papers as I could, whatever materials really I could get my hands on. I really tried to do my due diligence. Children's Hospital of Philadelphia were incredible consultants, as were Ronald McDonald House Charities. So, as somebody who's fortunate that has not lived this experience, it was crucial to me that I was authentic to your life experience. So it was really important to be authentic to the families who experience this and honor their experiences and not sugarcoat it. I think that a lot of times when people see films, they want it to be tied up neatly in a bow. And that's not pediatric cancer. And that's not Audrey's experience. It's not the experience of so many families. And one of the things that is really crucially important to me and our team is that we can help move the needle forward on the need for pediatric cancer research and advancement. And so the way that we portrayed the film hopefully shows that there's much more work to be done, and we all need to work together to help try to make things better.
Yeah, definitely. I know when I see a cancer storyline in like a movie or show, it's like one extreme or the other. It's either like suddenly like everything's fine and they're all good and there's no side effects, or it's like a very tragic ending and there's no in between. And so it always frustrates me to see that because it's not, very rarely is it everything is fine afterwards. And
That's exactly. And I mean, hearing about your story, and is it 26 surgeries that you've had in
yeah,
your, I mean, and I believe you were diagnosed when you were 4, is that right?
right before I turned 3.
Right before you turned 3. And,
Yeah.
this is what, 2 decades now that you've been living this experience. I mean, I can't even imagine what that's been like for you, and how inspiring you are to so many other kids who are going through this, and how you've turned something so challenging into something so positive and inspiring. It's amazing.
Well, thank you so much. That means a lot to hear. So
Of
thank
course.
you.
Thank you for enjoying the film. It really means a lot to me, that you felt like we accurately depicted the situation that you lived. I'm curious, if I may ask, like, what would you want people to take away from our film, and how can we help move the needle forward?
I think that need there needs to be more funding for research and like not having such toxic treatments, because it's like yes, they're effective, but then they cause so many other issues uh like down the line. And so yeah, I think I'd love for, I don't know, there's so much that I'd love for people just to learn from the movie. And I think to learn that we need to find less toxic treatments.
I couldn't agree more. And that's something Audrey, as you know from the film, was very adamant about. It was doing the most good and the least harm. And the things that she started 50 years ago in our movie is still applicable today.
Yeah.
So, hopefully people go and they watch this movie about this inspiring, incredible woman that they probably haven't heard of, and simultaneously realize, oh my gosh, there's so much more we could be doing right now. Like, let's all work together and make things better. That's my hope, at least.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel the same way.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, so yeah, like I said, the treatments are often very effective, but have very toxic side effects that affect quality of life. And so what do you think that we can do to change this, and what do you think Audrey would encourage us to do?
Audrey would 100% be in Washington trying to get more money for pediatric cancer research, that she was first and foremost, a scientist and a brilliant mind. And it always came back to how can we discover something new, come up with breakthroughs to then make things better for patients. So I feel like if she were here, she would say there's so much more that needs to be done. It's wonderful how far we've come, but we absolutely cannot take our foot off the gas. And that would be my message too. I believe, especially today, it's more important, I would say now, maybe more than ever, that we continue this forward motion with funding for pediatric cancer research, not just research, but the total care approach that Audrey cared so much about, to, of course, the science behind trying to find new drugs, but also caring for the entire family, which is where the Ronald McDonald House comes in. I really believe that she did so much in her lifetime, and she broke down so many doors so people could come through them. I feel like, even though I'm not an expert in this area, and I certainly don't claim to be, I am somebody who cares deeply about moving the needle forward on pediatric cancer research. And I believe that the way that hopefully I can help is by sharing Audrey's story, by bringing awareness to the fact that we need to continue funding, how crucial it is. And hopefully that will then inspire people to either donate to their local children's hospitals, help volunteer, help with the Ronald McDonald House charities. There's so many ways that people can get involved. And I mean, everybody can get behind caring for children. This is a very unanimous vision and goal that I believe that everyone can and should get behind. So I don't know if I answered your question, but we need to support research and we need to support caring for the whole family. So we really do owe it to the children who are experiencing it, not only now, but as you shared, who have long-term lasting effects. We can't just say bye-bye after their finished treatment as a child. We need to make sure that we follow through and care for these individuals throughout their lifetime. That's something Audrey really, really cared about. And I know that she would want me to say that.
Yeah. Yeah, and thank you for saying that, because that's something, my family and I always talk about. And so yeah, to hear somebody else say that. So thank
Well, uh, it's my truly honor, and I feel a great responsibility in not only sharing Audrey's story, but I feel like somehow I'm sharing your story too. And you've been so brave and fearless in everything that you have done in your life and your career, that I feel like I'm just playing a teeny little part. Hopefully whoever watches this and whoever watches the movie, maybe we can help do something together.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I'm very grateful to Jimmy Simpson for several reasons, and for like connecting me with you. And he's the one who, when I interviewed him, told me about this movie. And so right after our interview, I was like reading everything about Audrey and about the movie. And so yeah.
Well, I love Jimmy Simpson. He's become a good friend over the years, and he's such a genuine, kind soul. And he just did an unbelievable job playing Dan in our movie, who was also a real person. Dan was Audrey's partner in work and later in love. They got married 79 and 82. And it took a really special person to play that role, the brilliant, quiet, supportive partner in Audrey's life. And I truly can't imagine anybody doing a better job than Jimmy. So I feel lucky to have such an unbelievable cast on this movie. Natalie Dormer is just brilliant as Audrey Evans, truly brought her back to life. Jimmy Simpson is amazing as Dan. Clancy Brown is amazing as Coop. Brandon Michael Hall is amazing as this sort of starry-eyed resident. And I just feel so honored and privileged that we had this incredible cast. with a brilliant director and Amy Keenan-Mann who brought the film from the pages to the screen. And I'm so grateful. I'm so happy.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I'm so grateful to that we connected and are talking again. And so,
Same.
um, so yeah, I'm so sorry. I just completely lost my
You're totally good.
pace.
Take
But
your time. Happens to me all the time.
okay. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, But yeah, this movie is fantastic, and I hope that everyone goes to see it. And thank you so much for bringing Audrey's story to life and for telling us a little bit more about what it took to make this movie.
It's my pleasure, Maya. Thank you so much. I hope everybody goes and sees it in theaters too. It's a
Yeah,
really, really special movie with a mission. And it's just a great story. Like you're gonna enjoy the hour and 50 minutes of your life.
yeah, definitely. Um, and now, totally switching gears, I
Okay.
would love to ask some questions about you. Um, you so what is the biggest obstacle you have overcome?
That's a great question. And we're not just talking about like in terms of the movie, we just mean in like my life.
Yes.
Okay. I would say I've had some pretty real mental health struggles in my life that have been pretty debilitating at times. And I think that the thing with mental health is it's silent. And so people don't really know you're struggling when you're struggling.
Yeah.
And this is actually the first time I'm talking about it publicly. So, here we go. I feel like thankfully the tides have changed a little bit and people are sharing their experiences more. But everybody has struggles, everybody goes through hardships. I mean, you've overcome insurmountable odds. And so I feel like for me at this present moment in my life, I just want to like be authentically myself. And part of who I am is the struggles that I've had and continue to have. And I hope that in sharing my story, my next movie is going to be focused on this actually. Not my story necessarily, but on mental health in general. I hope that people feel less alone and maybe a little more brave to share their stories and yeah, like what's the point of like life if we don't help each other and share the tough times so that we can learn from each other? So yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Well, I mean, are you, I know mental health is an ongoing struggle. Are you, I don't, sorry, I'm trying to figure out how to phrase this. Like,
You
are
can ask.
you doing better now?
Yes, so I see a therapist and I've had treatment before. To be very specific, I've struggled with depression and anxiety and eating disorders. And so all of that is kind of a complex web of things. And I think as a female in this world, there's a lot of expectations on us. And I think that you know, you've got to sort of take back control of your life at some point and not worry about what other people think. And that's like a very general way to phrase mental health. It's much, much deeper than that. And that's another podcast that I won't get into. But I work on myself every day and I continue to try to be the best version of myself. I wouldn't change anything that I've been through because I think it makes me a very empathetic person because I've had some hard times. I think I can really relate to people in a very like kind of visceral way, even if I haven't had their exact experience. I feel like I can empathize with maybe how they felt in some shape or form. And so, as a storyteller, it feels like, the struggles are worthwhile because then I can translate it into stories and they heal me and as the person creating them. So I like to believe that when people see them, they feel a little piece of them is being healed too. So,
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
yeah.
I'm so glad to hear that. Yeah, you're doing better.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes. And if anybody listening is struggling with mental health, like I would just say, you're not alone. Like it's very, very common. And please reach out for help and check in on your friends and check in on your family. Like literally, this podcast is the first time I think I've ever said any of that in a public setting. So it might be a surprise to some people in my life when they watch this. And I think that that is how a lot of people navigate challenging situations. They just kind of put their head down and do it. And at a certain point, you gotta stick your head up and be like, okay, I need help, please. And also, I'm here for you if you need help. So that's kind of the thing that I care deeply about is making sure that other people don't feel alone.
Yeah, yeah. I love that. Yeah. One of my favorite shows is actually it's all about mental health.
Oh,
Yeah, make it and just bringing awareness to, thing like depression and checking in on people and
I love that. And, Maya, like I said, I'm writing, it's a musical, a mental health musical. So, similar to what you were saying earlier about how you didn't necessarily feel like you'd seen a story that adequately represented your experience with pediatric cancer and how nuanced it is, I don't feel like I have seen anything yet that fully represents my experience and how nuanced it is. And so this movie that I'm writing is very much almost like a anthem celebration of like not being alone in the world and taking back the power in your life. Because it doesn't have to be all like I think there's like a vision people have when they think about people with mental health struggles. That's not necessarily who I am. And so I think that it's important through storytelling. That's all I know how to do. So I keep saying storytelling, to show the nuances of different life experiences. Because I
yeah,
think, like to your earlier point, we can get stuck in seeing things like a very specific way.
yeah,
Hopefully I can change it. I'll change it up a little bit.
yeah. Oh, that's incredible.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. And then when that movie comes out, maybe you'll have me back.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I
Thank
love
you.
musicals, so I'm very excited.
Wow. This one's gonna be fun, let me tell you.
Yeah,
Fun, exciting, interesting, we'll
yeah,
see.
yeah. Oh, I can't wait. It sounds incredible. So,
Thank you. Thank you.
yeah. Um, so if you had a warning label, what would yours say?
Oh my gosh, that's such a good question. A warning label.
Yeah.
Um, so many things are flashing through my mind right now. Um, I think my warning label would be don't don't interact if you don't want to get into a really serious conversation. Because inevitably, if you sit down to talk to me, like I will jump right over like the pleasantries into like, so tell me about your life story and like all these, I will just get like right into it. So if you don't have time to like really like hash out your whole life and deepest, darkest secrets and all those things, if you don't want to get into it, you should probably just keep walking because I'm not good with surface level conversations in case you haven't realized already. I would prefer to like really get into it with somebody.
Yeah.
But I will keep a good secret. I'll always keep a secret. I'm like a vault. So
Yeah.
call me if you want to talk about anything.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah, I'm always down for like a deeper conversation.
I can tell from your podcast. That's why I feel comfortable talking to you about things because I can tell how genuine you are.
Thank you. Um, so I love inspiring and motivational quotes. And this week, my favorite quotation is from the show A Million Little Things, which is the one I was talking about earlier. And it's, I dare you to show the world you are not afraid of anything.
Ooh,
Um, yeah.
that's great.
Yeah. Yeah. Is there a quotation that has inspired you lately?
Man, Maya, you're asking so many good questions. I really
Thank
should
you.
not think about this one. Well, I feel like there's kind of like for me personally, and there's also for me in like the movie world. I hear Audrey in my head a lot because I promised her when we started this journey, and we worked together on the movie for many years, that the movie would make a difference in the lives of children. And that is like very much in like my soul, and I think about it every day, her talking to me about why, what she wanted this movie to mean and what I promised her it would mean. So I feel like that's like my guiding light right now is how can we pick up the work that Audrey had. And then I think like for me in general, like in my life, there's so many quotes that I love, but speaking of musicals, I love Hamilton and I'm not throwing away my shot. Like, I love it. And like sometimes to amp myself up because I am totally like a musical theater person. I'm not going to say nerd because musical theater people are
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Musical theater awesome person.
Yeah.
I like play Hamilton to like get
Yeah.
myself all amped for something. So I would say like I approached making this movie with Hamilton in mind. Like I'm not going to throw away my shot. I'm going to figure out how to do this. I'm going to get it out there. And whenever I'm having a hard day, I play the soundtrack to Hamilton, and pretty much anything Lin-Manuel wrote
Yeah.
is applicable to a quote that I love. So you could
Yeah.
just pick anything from him.
Yeah.
Let's go with I'm not throwing away my shot though. It feels timely for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm a huge musical theater fan too.
Right? It's the
Yeah.
best. It is the
Yeah,
best.
it is. Yeah. Yeah.
Agreed.
Have you ever seen like a show on Broadway?
Yes, I had the great honor of seeing Hamilton with the original cast before it blew up to
Oh,
Hamilton. And I sat there and I cried the whole time. I was sitting there with my mom and I was just like, I could not stop. It was like I was overwhelmed by what he created and the world that he created. And I was just like, this is the power of the arts. Like this movement that he created from this vision in his mind, like has taken the world by storm and has made people feel seen and less alone. And all these things that I was talking to you about earlier, like he did it.
yeah.
And so I just like, yes, I've had the great honor and privilege of seeing many, many shows on Broadway. And every time I just like cried like a baby. Because I'm so happy to be there.
Yeah. Oh, love that.
Yeah, I'm a little sappy.
Yeah. I am too. So
Okay, good. I feel better then.
yeah. Yeah, I my family and I went to see our very first Broadway show in October of 2023.
What'd
And
you say?
And we saw Gutenberg.
Oh, how was it?
It was so good. And I actually know Andrew Rannells. I've interviewed him a couple times, and so he invited me to see the show. So my family and I went, and it was incredible. And afterwards, we got to go backstage to see him.
Awesome.
And yeah,
That's so cool.
yeah, it was incredible. And it was all of our for I went with my mom and my sister, and it was all of our first Broadway show. So it was a very special experience.
Are you gonna go back again, do you think?
I want to, but I don't know. It's harder to get to New York than LA. So
But
yeah, so I'm not sure.
at some point you
Yeah.
must. Yes, you must.
Yes, I really hope so. Yeah.
Well, maybe we'll get to go see one together sometime.
Yes. Oh, I
That would
would
be
love
fun.
that.
That would be fun.
That would, yeah.
Definitely musical theater for sure.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, I have so many, there's so many soundtracks I just constantly have on repeat.
Oh, the
So,
best. It's
yeah.
just the best. It makes you happy, right?
Yeah, it does.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's like you doing like all of your interviews and talking to all these people about all these fun pop culture. And like it's not just the surface, it's also about people's lives and you ask serious questions and it's like that's the good stuff. This is why I love what we do. I just feel like it makes people happy, you know? It's like we
Yeah.
need more of this.
Yeah. Thank you.
I agree. I'm preaching to the choir. You know,
Yeah.
this is our world. It's cool.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that was my final question for you.
Okay.
Yeah, I just want to keep talking to you. I'm having so much fun.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, me too. I know.
Yeah,
I know you don't have to, you can keep this in or not, but we'll obviously stay in touch. And, you know, we should
yeah,
definitely, if you ever find yourself on the East Coast, please, please let me know. And if I ever end up in Denver, I have been a few times and the altitude and I are not friends. We don't get
yeah,
along at all. So it's probably going to be a minute till I find myself in Denver again. But it's beautiful. I like some of my best friends live there. I just altitude. I don't know how you guys do it.
yeah. I live here and I can't do the altitude. I can never go to the
Brutal,
mountains.
brutal,
Yeah.
brutal.
Yeah. So I always feel better physically when we go to Los Angeles since it's sea level. So
Yes,
yeah.
it's so nice there. Yeah. Are you going anytime soon?
We actually just went last month. We got back the beginning of this month.
Oh, nice. That's
So
awesome. Oh, did you do Jimmy's there? No.
no, that we had my family and I had lunch with him while we were there, but I interviewed him like a month before we left.
That makes sense. That makes sense,
Yeah.
of course. That's awesome.
Thank
Very
you.
cool. I'll put my
Yeah,
hand down. I forgot we were still like being recorded. I'm like, oh, so anyway,
yeah.
sorry, I'll get back into, okay, now I'm professional.
Oh, no, it's okay. I do that too sometimes. I just
Little,
forget
just
that.
went off to the side. Yes.
Yeah,
And we're back. Okay.
yes. Sometimes I start like fidgeting in my chair because I forget we're recording and I just,
Yeah.
yeah.
But also like interviewing is like as you like I've interviewed people for the first 10 years of my career and it's an art. Like it's a lot of work and but it's also so fun and you have to like keep so much in your
Yeah,
like you just like I feel like you've got like a I don't know, the way I think about it is there's just like so many questions and so much you want to tell and it's just like trying to figure out the timing. It's an art in my
yeah.
opinion. So I get it. I
Well,
get it. Totally get it.
yeah, well, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, and yeah, I was a little bit intimidated knowing I was interviewing somebody. else who has done interviews before.
Oh,
And so,
well, hopefully I was not intimidating in real life
no.
because I appreciate that you appreciate that I've interviewed people, but if anything, I just like, I feel like, again, can just relate to how difficult it can be to do interviews. So, like, if anything, I'd just be like chilling, be patient, anything you wanted.
Thank you so much for taking the time and joining me. And yeah, I've just had the best time talking with you.
Thank you, Maya. Thank you so much. Seriously, thank you for having me and thank you for doing what you do. It's amazing. And yeah, I am so excited that you love the movie and hopefully other people will too. And we'll keep on carrying Audrey's legacy
Yeah.
together.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, I would love to in any way I can do something to
Thank
help.
you.
And yeah.
Tell everybody to go to the theaters March
Yes,
28th and then see it on demand afterwards. Please, please,
yes.
and thank you.
Yes, definitely. I will be posting about it all over my social media when it comes out. I just wanted to say I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, Maya. You too.
Thank you. And that's a wrap on today's edition of The Latest with Maya.